Good morning. Happy Thursday. Let's go to the office, shall we? Yeah, let's shall. So, back to yesterday. Y'all, my car, I've had this car, I think 4 years. I think it just popped up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure 4 years. I think I got it in 21. I've never had the coffee cup appear, okay? So on my dash, you know, you've got like your speedometer, and then what's the other thing? I don't know what the other thing is. I never pay attention to it. Anyway, and then you got all the lights, like your tire pressure light and your gas light and blah, blah, blah. How many miles to empty lights and, you know, all those things. So in 4 years, never have I ever, on that screen, or any screen, had a coffee cup. It was about that big and had steam coming out the top. And it said, maybe you should take a break. Never. So, we got tickled. We got off the 75 onto the rest stop. And then my mind was like, is it telling me that this is a rest stop? And then I was like, no, my car's not this smart. You know, it's not a Tesla. Or as my dad calls it, a Tesla. It's not a Tesla. So, I don't think my car knows that there's a rest stop here. I was so confused. And then, of course, we were so tickled. So, I get back on the interstate. We go to Buc-ee's, have a great time. I thought I made a video of our lunch, but apparently I did not. So, sorry, but it was a great brisket sandwich. Of course, I couldn't eat the bun, so I sat in the car picking brisket off a bun. That was fantastic, but because I couldn't find a fork. Anyway, so we get back on the expressway to come home. We're not driving very far, and the coffee cup comes back on and says, maybe you need a break. And I was like, why does it keep doing this? Please stand by. This is where I'm talking about. The coffee cup was right in here. Now, if it was on this other screen, like here, where my Waze app comes up and all that, I could have understood it maybe a little better. Is it gonna focus? Okay, hocus pocus, let us focus. I'm so glad I got my car washed yesterday for it to rain. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so we're driving back home and the coffee cup appears again. And by this point, I'm like freaking out because I'm like, what in the world? Is my car overheated? Is it telling me that it's overheated and I need to, do I need an oil change? Or like, what's it telling me? I gotta go make sure this cat knows there's food out. Hold on. She had already eaten. She's sitting over on the other front porch. She sits over on that front porch but comes to my front porch to eat. I'm like, my front porch is more covered than that one, so I don't know why you're sitting over there. Anyway, so I'm freaking out about the coffee cup. I said, Trina, look it up and tell me, like, what? I don't know what to do, because by this point, my mind's telling me that I smell smoke coming from my car. Like, I'm really going into this whole episode. Of course, I can't stop laughing either, mostly from nervousness, but I was like, what is going on? So she got on Google and asked Google why a coffee cup would appear saying, maybe you need to take a break. And it said, because the car is detecting that I am tired and like I may be swerving. I said, are you telling me in all the 4 years I've driven this car that I have never swerved? Not once? I mean, I'm pretty sure we all swerve a little bit every now and then. And this car is telling me I'm swerving. But then I got to thinking, maybe it's telling me that because I was in with a bunch of truckers. There's a bunch of trucks, tractor trailers, on that part. Tractor trailers? No. I always call them the wrong thing. Semis. Anyway, there's a lot of semis on the road up there. There's a lot of industrial stuff up there. So, anyway, the only thing I can imagine is my car was in a draft, you know, and it was kind of pulling me. I mean, because it did feel like it was pulling me a little bit. But I was like, I'm not driving any differently than normal. You know, I mean, I was laughing, but I have laughed before in the car, and it didn't do that. So, anyway, it was just weird, but it freaked me out. And then, of course, we got tickled again. It only did it once on the way up there and once on the way back. Oddly enough, it was around the same location that it did it. But on the way back, there was no rest stop. So I know it wasn't trying to tell me to pull over at the rest stop. I mean, really, my Hyundai Tucson is not smart enough to know there's a rest stop. But I've driven to Blue Ridge a lot in this car. And it's never told me to take a break. I don't know. But anyway, we had a fantastic time. Oh, dang it. I forgot the chicken salad. Ugh. We stopped at that place and got chicken salad. And it is so delicious. She bought me a pint of it. Trina did. But to be honest, I need crackers to go with it. My gluten-free crackers. But they give you club crackers with it, which I love me a good club cracker, but I can't eat that many crackers. I can't eat that many gluten crackers, you know what I'm saying? So, I need to go get me a box of, you know, gluten-free crackers just aren't that good. They're just not. They're okay, but they're not club crackers, you know what I'm saying? They're not saltine crackers. They ain't nothing like a saltine cracker, an oyster cracker, or a club cracker. Yeah. And I'm sorry if y'all don't know what that is overseas, but over across the pond, but they're delicious. Anyway, all right, I'll be back, okay? Okay. I just heard a funny on the radio. They said it was back in the 80s, so, you know, when you had to pay for long distance calls and such as that. Well, they had these phone numbers you could call and talk to different people, which apparently I didn't know about because I never called them. My mama would have probably put the beat down on me if I had called some number that made our phone bill go up. But anyway, this little girl called the Easter Bunny at her grandma's house without her grandma really knowing it. I guess she got the number off of something. I don't know. And her and the Easter Bunny talked for 2 hours. And then what you talking to the Easter Bunny about for 2 hours, first of all, ma'am? And second of all, her grandma got the bill, $200 for the phone bill, which reminds me of when I went to New Orleans with Reba, and I was drunk calling people, and I called everybody. I called Mitzi. I called my sergeant or lieutenant at the time and told him how much I loved him. I called Mitzi several times. I don't really know who all I called. I just know that I called a bunch of people in a drunk hysteria, laughing and talking and chatting and telling them I loved them. You better get off my butt, lady. So when I got the phone bill, when I got back home in the next month, I got the phone bill. My phone bill was like, I think it was $400. $400. And I was like, why is my phone bill so expensive? And then I started looking at all the people I called and how long I talked to them. I was like, oh dear Jesus, what have I done? What have I done? All right, I'm at work. I'll be back. One more for the road. One for the road. Lido. Okay, so I go to the bank today at lunch, and I dropped off my deposit so I wouldn't have to go this afternoon, because sometimes it's busier when I get off work because all them construction people are getting in line to get their checks cashed on Thursdays. It's such as that, you know. So anyway, I then went over to our favorite little chicken place to get me something to eat since I forgot my chicken salad. And there was this woman in a car in front of me in the line, and she, like, okay, so she's back here, but the speaker's up here, right? Like, the front of her car wasn't even where the speaker was, right? But she's leaning out of her car yelling at the speaker. And she was like, "Y'all have a chicken sandwich? Huh? Yeah, I want some fries." And finally, she slowly pulls up and gets even with the speaker. She didn't stop yelling, but she finished her order. But he hadn't even, like, finished his little spiel about your total is blah, 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 pull forward. She was already gone. Just like she just drove off and went on around the corner. I was laughing so hard at her. And then there's a car, it's a 2-laner. So the car next to me comes and gets in front of me because she placed her order first. And then I get in line behind her. We can both hear this woman in her car, all the windows rolled up, talking on the phone, and both of us got so tickled. I could see her laughing in her rear view mirror, and she looked back at me, and I was cracking up because this woman was so loud. So then she pulls up to the window. I'm 2 cars back. I can hear every word she's telling to this young man at the Chick-fil-A. And he drives off, and then the next lady pulls up, and she is pointing, and I can tell she's telling him. And he's laughing, and then she drives off, and then I pull up. I said, "I just want to let you know that I could hear her, too." And he was like, "No." I said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "We could all hear her." I said, "She was so loud." He was like, "Well, she was quite lovely." And I said, "Oh, I didn't say she wasn't lovely. I didn't say she wasn't, just a wonderful individual. I just said she's loud." And we could all hear her. I said, even with her windows rolled up, she was talking on the phone or to some hidden person in the car. I don't know. Maybe she was talking to herself, but I could hear her talking. Yeah, she was just loud. But she was cracking me up in the Chick-fil-A line. Yes, she was. But anyway, I'm home now. It's the end of the day, and Penny's mad because I gave her a treat, but she kept sitting here barking, wanting another one, and I didn't immediately get up and go get it. So now she's just laying there mad, but she's going to have to eat her some food first before she can have another treat. She's going to have to stay mad. You know what I'm saying? You can get glad the same way you got mad, right? Right. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're having a great day. Remember, I love you. Jesus loves you. We hope he's coming back soon because people be crazy. And I'll talk to you on the next one.